Hello, it's Tracy Farquhar coming to you on January 20th, 2025, with a reading that has the intention of giving you some guidance for the week ahead. As always, I pulled 4 tarot cards from my deck, which is the Barbara Walker Tarot. The first 3 cards represent past, present, and future. And the 4th card is what I call an action card that sums up the whole reading. So I'm going to go through each one and let you know what I get. The first card that I pulled for the past is the 4 of Cups. Looks like that in my deck. Now, the 4 of Cups coming up here is, first of all, really encouraging you to be true to yourself and to really stand in your truth with an eye toward what other people think might be influencing you. And since it's coming up in the past, I feel that it's encouraging you to look at how that has worked for you before. Were there times where you tried to bend your beliefs or placate somebody else? And if so, and it probably is, because it is for most of us, how did that work out? Remember that standing in your truth, being true to yourself, allowing people to see the real you is the best way to proceed, because it lets you know who your people are and who they aren't. And it's not a judgment call. It's more of a discernment. If people don't see the authentic you, they're not responding to the authentic you. There's also this sense of really connecting with your feelings, because Cups is all about your heart wisdom, feelings, emotions. So it's really important to trust that right now. Again, think about how that has helped you in the past. Are you really listening to your intuition? Or are you letting the fears in your head get in the way? Are you being pulled into somebody else's truth? Are you being pulled into the media, which tends to over-dramatize things? Are you allowing your well-being and your emotional feeling self to be influenced too much by other people? The way to combat that is to remember who you are and always proceed from that sense of inner truth and listen to your intuition, your gut feeling, what you just know to be true, which is not always in harmony with what your brain is telling you, because the brain can be influenced by others, can be influenced by our culture, the news, social media. Lots of things influence us that we don't even realize. So it's a good reminder for this week to stay true to yourself and listen to yourself, and to be aware of when you're not. The second card is the 9 of Swords. Swords is the most challenging suit in the tarot. Swords represents our thinking mind, which is where we often get into trouble. This card has a sort of a similar message, but it's a pretty dramatic one. You can see it's a pretty dramatic looking card. There's this woman clinging to the tree surrounded by kind of scary looking figures there. So I think it's kind of representing what a lot of us might be feeling right now. This sense of powerlessness, this sense of being at the mercy of some other powers, some other people, situations, the world. And it's not that that's not true. You know, we have a limited power over what happens around us. We have no power over influencing or changing other people. And there are things in the world that we have not as much influence as we would like. So it can lead to a sense of helplessness if we really buy into the fact that we are just powerless pawns in this big chess game of the world. It's important to remember what your power is. Your power is in how you choose to respond to what's going on around you. It's not necessarily manipulating the world around you. It is choosing what to do with it, how to react to it. recognizing that, again, falling into that pit of despair may not be the real truth. You know, that sense of powerlessness is not the truth. That sense of some ultimate higher power that has complete control over us is not true unless we allow it to be. So it's reminding us to, once again, stay in our truth, to understand that we as a collective have a lot of power, that your energy that you walk around with is powerful. And the way that you're thinking really affects that energy. So if you are engulfed in a feeling of despair and hopelessness, you're walking around with that energy, and that energy has an effect on other people. It has an effect on the general energy of the world. So taking responsibility for that means making sure that you are focused on what is good and what is right. That doesn't mean ignoring what isn't. Just means take time every day to find some gratitude for what you have in your life, gratitude for the world in general. Make sure that you're appreciating the beauty of the world, that you're looking for the good news stories out there, that you're really believing in the goodness of people, and compassionate people really are the majority in the world. It's just that the ones who aren't are louder. So it's important to recognize that you have a very strong influence on how you are feeling by choosing where you are focusing and where you are dwelling in your mind. The third card, again, is kind of in the same theme. This is the future card. It's the Eight of Swords. So we have the Nine of Swords, and now we have the Eight of Swords. So once again, swords being that challenging card, clearly representing a sense of being in a challenging time right now. The card has come up upside down, and the way I interpret an upside down card is not always the way other readers do, but I'm the reader, so I get to determine how to read that. I always find an upside down card is more focused inward than outward. So it's really encouraging us to look at how we're thinking and feeling internally. The word on the card is disillusion. And you can see that there's a person on a horse there that isn't really going anywhere. It's really encouraging this sense of self-reflection and recognizing how your expectations play into that sense of disappointment or disillusion. We are certainly encouraged to have positive expectations and to have a positive vision for what's possible in the future. And it is the future card here. And that's really encouraged, to be in a place where you can envision positive things happening, compassionate people doing work, people coming together, all the things that you would like to see in your own life and in the world. But it means we have to kind of stop and reflect. And if we are in our day-to-day running on the hamster wheel pace that we're usually in, it's hard to do that. It's hard to reflect when you're just running around like crazy, trying to do all the things you need to do in a day. So it is encouraging that sense of pause so that you have time to reflect. And again, as the first two cards encourage, get in touch with your own higher wisdom, your own intuition, your gut feeling, to recognize where you might be turning over your well-being to the general sense of doom and gloom. Of course, you want to be realistic and truthful, but you also want to be able to hold on to the truth that things can get better. That is a truth. That's always a truth. It's always a possibility. It's hard to see that when all you're seeing is what's wrong. So again, we get to choose our viewpoint. And the last card is actually all about that too. So this reading really ties in really well together. Because the last card, which is the card that ties everything together, is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man, you know, he's hanging by his foot there. He's not hanging by the neck. It's not a gruesome card. But the Hanged Man is encouraging you to take a different perspective on things, which is pretty much what the first three cards are saying. So it's a perfect card to wrap it up. You get to choose your perspective. No matter what is coming at you from at the outside, from other people, from the media, from anywhere, from your past, you get to choose your perspective. And again, there is a fine line between what is truthful, what is actually happening in front of you, and what is illusion. And how do we tell the difference? That's where we need to really trust our gut, trust our higher senses, trust what we're feeling. It's really crucial right now. This is your barometer of truth, because your brain can be tricked. The brain is an amazing thing. We need it. We need to use logic and intellect. But it can be talked into things, and it has been pre-programmed by your upbringing, by other people. Sometimes we forget that. So again, this sense of taking a breath, taking some time to yourself this week, having some moments in your day where you can be still and quiet. Imagining, instead of the worst possible scenario going forward, imagining the best possible scenario for yourself, for your life, for your loved ones, for this country, for the world. Imagine it, see it, know that it's possible, even though you may be told otherwise, even though that voice in your head may be telling you something else. It's time to connect with the heart center and really believe it. Nobody really tells you to trust your intuition very much. You didn't grow up with that message, so it can be a tricky thing to do. But now's the time to do it. And catch yourself when you start to be pulled into that abyss of hopelessness and say, that's an illusion. And I can prove it because I'm still here after having experienced a lot of really challenging things. I'm still here. I'm still looking forward to the future. I'm still thriving. I'm still moving forward. So that means I'm still going to do that. So I hope that was helpful for you for the week ahead. Be sure to check out my website, tracyfarquhar.com, for some events and all the other services that I provide. I provide individual readings by Zoom or phone or in person. And I hope you have a great week, sending lots of blessings to us as a country. And I will see you next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.